Hey guys, welcome back to 100 Drops of Apex Legends, the series where I drop every POI in the game 100 times and track my stats along the way to determine which POIs I perform well at and which ones I should probably avoid dropping into if I had the option. This episode, Hole Drop enthusiasts rejoice, we're looking at our second Olympus POI and it's Hammond Labs. Here's the stats that we'll be tracking across our 100 straight drops at this central POI. As usual, all games will take place in pubs, including a healthy mix of duos, trios, and solo queue, to represent the many different ways there are to play the game. And at the end, we'll compare the stats of Hammond Labs to the other POIs we've covered in the series thus far. And finally, before we get to the POI breakdown, very late into my 100 drops, I got into the habit of keeping a pad and paper handy, marking down anything of note about the POI as it comes to mind while I play my games. Since I only started doing this during my last few drops, this is all I have so far. So, without further ado, let's leave no stat unturned and no tip unlearned. This is the POI breakdown of Hammond Labs. Hammond Labs is located smack in the dead center of the map, and as such, tends to be a decently busy POI. It is comprised of essentially two areas, the big Labs building, or PlayStation building, and Top Waterfalls, which sits just north on the overlook. Waterfalls is a powerful position to hold due to its ultimate height status, but with it being much smaller, there is much slimmer pickings for loot. PlayStation building, on the other hand, can be entered in 5 different ways. There's the front door, the back door, 2 sets of side doors, and of course you can drop straight through the hole and land right in the middle. As a small bonus tip too, it's probably well known, but if you do choose to go down the hole, attempt to clip the wall and start falling as soon as possible, as you fall once you hit the wall much faster than you do when you're flying from the dropship. And the faster you hit the ground, the faster you can grab a gun and defend yourself. Now, as for which method of entry into the building is best when you're dropping in, they're actually all pretty balanced, and as such it's really going to depend on how many teams are sharing the POI with you and where they choose to go, which will determine where you should land. The back door area is one of the safest in the POI, with height and little to no risk of anyone making the long flank outside the building to shoot you in the back. But there are only 2 to 3 loot pools up there, meaning likely only enough loot for 1, maybe 2 people. The other doors grant access to more loot pools, but generally aren't as safe as the backdoor area. And if you choose to drop down the hole, you're an absolute menace and I love you for it. We could all use a little more brazen, chaotic energy like that in our lives. Good legends to pick if you plan on making this a regular drop spot include Catalyst, Fuse, and Horizon. Catalyst shines at this POI because she is undoubtedly the queen of playing these 2 little bunker rooms here. There is only 1 door in and out of these rooms, making pushing in or out of them difficult in a clean fight situation. Catalyst is the best at holding these rooms defensively by reinforcing the doors and laying traps, and also is arguably the best at assaulting them as well, as she can take control of the door from the outside, essentially blocking off whoever's sitting in the room from helping the rest of their team fight outside, and she can also throw her traps in the room to get anyone off the head glitches in there. Rampart also deserves an honorable mention here as well, with her walls offering very good protection when playing the rooms defensively as well. Fuse is another great choice, as his knuckle clusters and ability to spam grenades give you a huge edge in pushing anyone trying to hole up in the bunker rooms, or for getting people off the backdoor height power position I talked about earlier. And finally, Horizon should be your go-to if you're the loose cannon dropping down the hole, as her passive jump jets will allow you to grab a gun and start spraying faster than any other legend. My recommended rotations for kills from Hammond Labs are Estates or Energy Depot, which are both great quick rotations, as they are notorious hot drops rife with third-party opportunity. Both also have jump towers, allowing you to continue searching for KP quickly, even if your squad isn't rocking movement legends. But that's about everything you need to know about Hammond Labs. Let's get into the games, where I'll be breaking down some key tips, tricks, and spots to ensure you can win the off-drop contest every time. But before that, the YouTube algorithm demands that I ask you to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content so far. I know it's stupid, but it really does make a massive difference in how the video performs in the algorithm, and these videos do take a while to make, and I would love the opportunity to continue making them for you guys. So, if you made it this far, just know that I appreciate you, and without further ado, let's get to the drops. Most multi-team contests at Hammond Labs play out in a similar way. Most of the initial fighting happens in the middle, and as the number of teams start to thin, fights move to the outer sections of the lab. Here's a good example of this, with me utilizing the high ground at back door.
Knocked one.
I'm aping this team. This team, full team right here.
I'm coming to you. I'm here. Here.
Cracked him,
I'm
but I
here.
know
I'm here.
ammo.
I'm here.
The octane is cracked. And then there's a... Nice. Well, the other guy faced here too.
Right out here on this rock.
Here's a good example of a quick rotate to Energy Depot, which allows us some quick, easy, early KP in the form of a third party.
I'm in the patch of field right now. Nice. Still not with you.
Yeah. I'm on the other side.
The big hologram on the center console can provide great visual clutter, making it hard for enemies to see you at a quick glance. Check out how this ballistic uses it here to get the jump on me.
Where the fuck?
Here's a good example of why backdoor balcony is so strong, and also why playing the two bunker rooms well is so important.
1-7, knock one, knocked one. I gotta swap, I'm good. We gotta play this head glitch,
Fuse cracked, I'm pushing fuse. Not fuse. One.
Good shit.
Finally, although this didn't take place at Hammond Labs, it did happen during the 100 drops, and I think it's a great showcase of how playing knock and staying calm in tense situations tends to work out in the end.
Trigger.
They're coming down, sliding
Yeah, it's
down.
fine. Hold the head glitch. We're chilling. Crack one.
I just got Nice. I'm getting you knocked. Top of that. Oh yeah, dude.
Just fucking better, baby. Let's go.
That was perfect.
As always, it's a great morning to break down some stats. Let's get into it, baby. First off, we'll break down my seasonal stats so that we know what we're comparing the stats from these 100 drops to. Average damage per game in Season 17 is 574 for me, and then average kills per game is about 1.88, something like that. As always, difference between KDR and kills per game is for KDR. Sometimes you'll die twice if you respawn in that game, so KDR and kills per game are going to be slightly differently, but we compare to kills per game. And win rate, we're looking at a 5.84% win rate with 308 total games played in Season 17 and 18 total wins. So with that baseline, let's compare what happened in our 100 drops of Hammond Labs to that. And as you can see, we have two awesome POIs in a row. That's amazing. Relic was our first positive POI, and now we got a streak of 2 going. So, of course, as always, the 3 main stats that we're going to look at are average kills, average damage, and win rate, since those are the 3 things that you're aiming to do in every single match of Apex Legends. Hammond Labs, we had an average of 2.01 kills per game. Compare that to my seasonal average of 1.85. It's a pretty solid improvement. Average damage looks about the same, 675 compared to 574. That's about a 100 damage difference, which would be enough to get you a kill back in Season 0. And then looking at win rate, Hammond Labs actually won 6 games, so Hammond Labs barely edges out my seasonal average there in win rate. And as such is the first POI that we've looked at where all 3 metrics are positive. And then as always, we break it down by game mode at duos and trios, and the breakdown of duos versus trios. Today, We are breaking the trend, and the Groudon Go Duos curse has been broken. We performed better in the Duos mode than we did in the Trios mode for the first time in the history of this series. Duos kills per game 2.11 versus Trios 1.84. Damage per game follows a similar trend of being 697 compared to 640 in the Trios mode. And then win rate was also higher as well. 6.4% win rate in Duos and 5.23% win rate in Trios. As for why this was, somebody made a really good comment on my last video of their hypotheses for why my performance in Trios was a little better than Duos. And they explained it in a way that made sense to me. They said that if you're playing Trios and you're 3-stacking, you have a higher advantage than if you're 2-stacking in Duos, because that's one more player in your team that you could be communicating with that the opponent's team might not be communicating with if they're only duo stacking or solo queuing. I'll put his comment on screen and I'll plug his name because I thought it was a really insightful comment. And then finally, let's look at where Hammond Labs ranks in comparison to the other POIs that we've looked at thus far. And we have undoubtedly our new champion. Best POI that we've looked at so far is indeed Hammond Labs. 0.16 kills per game higher than our seasonal average, over 100 higher damage per game than our average. Also a 0.16% increase on our win-loss ratio. And then how that compares to Relic. Relic, of course, was our first positive POI. Estates is, still pretty middle of the road. And then Monument, we don't talk about that episode. As for why I think Hammond Labs was such a good POI for me here, obviously I think its central location has a lot to do with it. As I mentioned in the intro, you have both Estates on your left and I always forget what the heck. Energy Depot. I always call it Triangle Roofs. I have never once called that POI Energy Depot, but Energy Depot on your right, Estates on your left. Both are, notorious hot drops. You hop in there, you third party, you clean that up. That's super free KP, right? So the fact that it's centrally located next to 2 hot drops means that your rotations are going to be pretty easy, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities for KP on those rotations. And also, you're not going to have to worry about really fighting in zone, because, like I said, it's a central POI. So the majority of the zones, you're not going to have to run too far for. And that is everything that I learned over the course of my 100 straight drops into the central POI on Olympus Hammond Labs. Until next time, hope you all have a great rest of your day. Hope your games go well, and let me know which POI I should cover next in the comments. Thanks. Love you guys. Peace.